Welcome to The Good Homegirl. I'm your good homegirl, Tay, and on this podcast, we talk about motherhood, current events, real life, healing, and whatever else is on my mind while making sure you also feel seen and heard. Today, we're going to get into the controversy behind the Kdot Kdot Super Bowl performance. I'm probably going to be a little biased because I am black, I'm from LA, and I'm a Gemini. So I want to say that for myself, I got my entire life. I enjoyed the entire thing. I was super excited. My team is the Packers. They weren't in the Super Bowl anyway, so I didn't really care about who was playing. I literally was just waiting on a performance. I personally think that he did an amazing job. I feel I was excited as someone from LA and just someone from California, period, at all the references. I was excited about the dancers that they had turfing, like from the Bay Area, like the hyphy dancers. You have to be from here to get it. I lost it when I seen the girls like do RJ's walk across the stage, like RJ stomp across the stage. Squabble Up is obviously an LA dance. It was just a lot of things that, on top of it being a performance for the culture, it was something that it was so many references to LA culture, to California culture, to West Coast culture, that just really made me just way too happy. I want to also say that as a Gemini, I always say people think that we were to be played with until we show you that we're not to be played with. Like, some of the best diss songs of all time was written by Geminis. Like, let's not forget No Vaseline, or Hit 'Em Up, or Bomb First. Like, even Prince was he could be a little shady when he got ready. But what'd he say? Sometimes you gotta pop out and show him. So for me, all the way around, I give it a 10 out of 10. I cannot wait until, the tour in May. But here's my issue. There's a saying where people say, the more and more that the days go by, I'm starting to understand why Harriet Tubman shot a lot of people when it came to the Underground Railroad. Like, everybody can't come. That's just what it is. I understand. I've heard some people saying that they wanted to just, have they popcorn and dance and whatever. And I get that. But I feel like we're in a time right now where these things need to be talked about. And I know as a black person, what bothers me is that this country has such a nasty history of how we as a people have been mistreated. And so to see people talk about how, this is being shoved down our throats, it's like, do you not see the world going, not even the world, just do you not see America going to shit right now? And it blows my mind because there's so many people of color that, now you got family members getting deported, and, you voted for Trump because you thought things were going to get better. And apparently you thought you were the exception to the rule. But black folks have been telling y'all for years what we've been through. Black people were brought to this country. We were stolen from where we came from. We were brought to this country. Our culture was snatched from us. Our language was snatched from us. Our religion was snatched from us. Everything that we are and were was snatched from us. We were raped. We were beaten. We were killed. We were everything. We were tortured. We were tied up to horses and dragged away. Our babies were fed to alligators. Every time that we created anything for ourselves, it was literally burnt to the ground. We have been telling folks for literal decades what has been happening to us. And we're always told, y'all are always the victim. This happened so long ago. Let it go. Let's keep it a buck. There are still people living that if they were not slaves themselves, they were told these stories from their grandparents. My grandmothers are 82 and 83. My mother is 54. And her birth certificate says Negro. Stop trying to gaslight us because the history makes you uncomfortable. We are not in a time, and listen, I love me some Sexy Red, But we are not in a time where we need Sexy Red on a Super Bowl stage, representing black folks as a culture. Absolutely not. I think what bothers some people is people need to be honest with themselves and just say, hey, you know what? I understand that as a whole, it might have been my ancestors, or, I understand as a whole that maybe, yes, I'm part of the demographic that has been mistreated as well, but this is just not something that I want to actually acknowledge or come to terms with. I feel like the reason why Black history makes other races and cultures so uncomfortable is because they played a part in it. And I'm definitely going to do another episode on the matter. But let's talk about how people that immigrate to this country, they all seem to have this hatred for a group of people that they've never even met, because of how the world is supposed to see us. Black people are looked at to be just these dangerous, just uncouth, uncultured people, but we're the culture. If you're not a good person, you're not a good person. Your skin color doesn't have anything to do with it. We can sit up here and say that all white people are bad based off of history, but I've run into a nice amount of people that haven't been that way. Our history is being erased under our eyes. Look at all the shit that President Orange is doing. That shit ain't by accident. It's by design. As a longtime Kendrick fan, I was so happy to see him take the stage. And I understand that everybody's entitled to their opinion, but it did bother me that there were so many critics that missed the messages that he was trying to convey. I've heard so many people say that, oh, this was all about Drake. It was Drake. I'm going to take a pause for the cause real quick, and let's talk about Drake for a second. I definitely, and I'm speaking to my Black people right now. When I say Black people, I'm talking about Black Americans. I'm not talking about Africans that came to this country. I'm not talking about dark-skinned Latinos. I'm talking about Black people, the people whose family has been here since we were stolen and brought to this land. Okay? We have a really bad habit of inviting everybody to the cookout. Do I like Drake as an artist? Yes. Do I care for Drake as a person? Absolutely not. Drake was not even raised as a Black man. Drake was raised as a Jewish white man. Drake knows nothing about being Black. Drake learned how to be Black from being around other Black people in his adulthood. I don't knock him for that. That's not his fault. I just think that he moves in a way that has been shady from the beginning. So when you look at another person, for instance, like Barack Obama was born to a white mother. His mother also made sure, though, that he knew that he was a Black man on top of that. And she made sure that he knew, to the best of her ability, right, where he came from. Barack also started to insert himself in circles with people that looked like him so that he could understand the culture. I'm not saying that you have to necessarily marry a Black woman to understand Black culture. That's not my point. However, Drake is another example of racially ambiguous people that benefit off of the culture because we know that they're Black, but they don't give a shit about the people that the culture is made up of. I felt like when Drake was, I don't have a personal issue with Drake's music, but if you really pay attention to Drake, you can really see how he cosplays. So I got friends in Houston, so now I'm gonna act like I'm from Houston. I got family in Memphis, so I'm gonna act like my cousins in Memphis. He literally is a caricature. He's not any different than, the white girls that like to wear box braids because they have Black boyfriends. But you don't give a shit about Black girls. You're actually trolling those Black girls. And you're telling us, oh, that's why your men don't want us. Not understanding that they only want you out of their hatred for themselves. Because if he was just attracted to you as a person, he wouldn't be telling everybody around him that he doesn't date the ones that look like him. Drake literally appropriates every single culture of person that he gets around. Whether it's, y'all forgot when he had his dance hall era, or when he got, started hanging around with the Nigerians and had his Afrobeats movement. I'll give you an example of the difference. when you look at Chris Brown, right? Nigerians love Chris Brown. Chris Brown has been able to collaborate with Afrobeats artists, and he has certain Afrobeat songs with those artists. But Chris Brown is not walking around here all of a sudden acting as though he's Nigerian. Mustard did an interview with Power 106, or not Power 106, my bad, The Real 92.3 with Big Boy. And Big Boy had asked him, like, do you have any advice or how do you feel? And he was just like, bro makes good music. I think that he should just stick to that. And I agree. I don't think anybody is negating Drake's talent. Drake is very talented. I'm still a Drake fan on the music spectrum. Like, I can separate the art from the artist. I think that a lot of people don't understand that, yes, you got these weird ass people that are in these parasocial relationships with celebrities that they don't know. But for those of us that really do understand the culture and the history behind hip hop, he's literally a culture vulture. I knew myself, okay, as an LA native, I knew myself that Drake was pulling for straws when he did, I forgot what song it was, but he was like, yeah, you know who represent my nigga CB, you know who even represent like my nigga YG. Like, Chris Brown is not, come on now. Y'all don't remember when Chris Brown and Soulja Boy literally was beefing with each other and they was like on Pyro. Y'all niggas are not even, come on now. Like, I'm so glad that as a whole we have stopped that culture of letting niggas pay their way into gang banging. Cause you got people invested in shit where it's two people that's not even from the state of California arguing with each other over something that like people have actually literally died from. He's so out the loop. Y'all don't remember when Drake wouldn't say nigga, he was saying nigga with the hard ER? Or when this man dressed up in blackface? I do blame us as a culture. I do. Because we've allowed him to do the things that he's done for so long. That's why he got away with it. But I need people to understand that this is way bigger than that. Kdot is really where he's really from, where he's from. Why do you think the whole entire state rallies around this man? It's not just by design. He even said, I know y'all niggas don't like the West Coast. I'm fine with it. I'll press the line with it. I don't think that people understand that, like, telling LA that, oh, we don't have a culture or y'all music don't get any further than LA. That doesn't bother us. This state is so big that there are people that literally have become millionaires just by doing shows locally. California has the 6th biggest economy in the world. If we literally became our own country, we'd be fine. And I kind of hope we do. I think that our culture is so deep here because, once again, we had to create. As black people, we're always having to create and reinvent, especially because the things that we do, it gets shunned and then other cultures pick it up and then they monetize it and all of a sudden it's the thing to do. Y'all don't remember when Miley Cyrus had her era where she was hanging out with all these black girls from LA? And then when that boy broke off the engagement, she decided she wanted to be a white woman again? We have got to stop letting people dip their foot in the culture and then take it out when it's convenient. Drake didn't even know his father. He didn't know his father till he got older. I feel like instead of him trying to rub shoulders with all these fully black people, he should have actually like taken the time to learn the other half of who he is. And instead of doing that, he just mimicked what he thought it was and he monetized it. That is the issue. That was the entire premise of like a lot of these disses that Kdot had put out. He even said, ain't an accent you could sell me. Y'all haven't go back and watch older, like when he did like MTV Cribs or whatever. And he was like talking to his mom. And then like the difference between now. That's why now he's suing and shit like that, because you could tell someone like Drake ain't never been in the hood playing the dozens where everybody was ragging on each other. Oh, he said I'm a pedo. I mean, were you not on stage literally like flirting with a 17-year-old child? Are we gonna really like act like you wasn't Millie Bobby Brown's quote unquote best friend. It's given Aaliyah and R. Kelly. However, this was so much bigger than Drake. He literally said it's a cultural divide. It's bigger than the music. Look at what's happening in the world right now. Look at what's happening in our country right now. And you know what? I will say this as a black woman. The difference now is that everybody gets to feel how we've been feeling for years. Decades. You guys are now the new black people. If you've noticed, we've all started to sit this one out. Look at how many people are being openly disrespected and discriminated against. I literally told a client of mine yesterday, we are now in the new Jim Crow, except it's not just black people being discriminated against anymore. It's everybody that is not a straight white male. So now you all get to see what we've been saying. And then you got people that are in such denial about the current state of our country that they're talking about, oh, he's always trying to shove this propaganda down our throats. That's what you took from that. Okay. I want to break down the performance. What was he really saying? What do I believe Kdot was really saying? Why are certain people of certain demographics labeling this as racist? And how can we as fans shed light on the true essence of his art? Let's get into the visual imagery. This performance was obviously rich as hell in symbolism. I gawked over Samuel L. Jackson being a black Uncle Sam. The dancers forming an American flag. Kdot is so intentional and meticulous. I loved when he performed Luther and All the Stars. I love when, even when Samuel L. Jackson was just like, you're too loud, you're too ghetto. I loved it. Just say y'all was made uncomfortable because it's getting called out. I loved Serena Williams' cameo. And once again, they keep talking, making it a Drake thing when they forget that she was fined for crip walking at Wimbledon. This was not only a nod, because I think people forget that this is a black woman from Compton. This was not just a nod to her roots, but it was like definitely for her past criticisms that she faced. This had nothing to do with that man. Maybe Kdot being Kdot, it might have, because he did say, from a laundry down essential, nigga better not speak on Serena. But I really feel like y'all tell us that we're too, like, y'all just be honest and say that our energy is too big for the spaces that y'all have us in. But y'all know that if y'all took us out of a lot of these spaces, you wouldn't have the organizations that you have. People really have the nerve to label this performance as racist because there was not one other person not of color on the stage. I think people really forget that, like, before all of these wild amounts of labor were put on Hispanics' backs in this country, it was on the backs of African Americans. And I particularly like to say black because I'm not an African American. I don't have African parents. And we'll definitely get into another episode of how Africans don't even really mess with black people like that. So I'm not going to claim a culture of people that don't really walk with me the way that they claim that they do. When we've seen the microaggressions as well as the things that are being said about us black people on the internet. They are definitely their own race of people. They are black people are black Americans. I understand that when people come to this country and they are of color, they get grouped into black, but they do not treat us like we are skin folk. Okay. Right-wing commentators express their discomfort, interpreting the performance as a direct challenge to their ideals. I personally feel like if you were made uncomfortable, you need to question why you're made uncomfortable. Why does it bother you that there's an all-black cast? It's just the same way as, like, they say, oh, HBCUs are racist. There are white people that go to HBCUs. Remember, black people would not have to create these spaces for ourselves if we were welcomed into other spaces. Let's not forget that there was a point in time in this country where we were not allowed to drink from the same water fountains. We were not allowed to swim in the same pools. We were not allowed to read. We were not allowed to sit in a classroom with white people. Did we forget that Ruby Bridges is still alive? And how they treated a child? Oh, okay. Many failed to grasp the deeper meanings behind this imagery because they wanted to focus on their surface level interpretations. Y'all was triggered because y'all wanted something to be about you. This is Black History Month. Our history is literally simultaneously being erased. Think about all the books that are being banned. Critical race theory. You got people literally telling little Black children that, oh, slavery wasn't that bad. They enjoyed it. Get the fuck out of here. Are you serious? The true essence of Kdot's message was him celebrating Black culture. Rather than promoting division, this performance was a celebration of Black resilience, history, and our contribution to American society. This was unity through art. The imagery of fragmented colors coming together to form the American flag symbolized unity and the idea that together we form a complete nation. He challenged the status quo. Kdot has always used his platform to provoke thought and challenge societal norms, urging listeners to reflect on deeper issues. This performance was a masterclass in storytelling through art. A lot of people missed the point. I feel like as a fan, it's up to us to highlight and celebrate the profound messages that he delivers. And I've been seeing this all over social media. I definitely would love to hear your thoughts. Did it resonate with you? What messages did you take away? Please share your perspectives with me on social media or in the comments. I appreciate y'all being here. I know I'm a little biased on this topic, but I just really get sick of, as a culture, like, our thoughts and feelings and experiences are negated just because other people are uncomfortable. But y'all let me know how y'all feel. What did you think? Did you really yourself believe that it was boring just because it was educational in nature? And if you do, I encourage you to go back and watch it again. And really, like, look at it to learn something. I get it. Like, it's the Super Bowl. I'm not in the place to be trying to learn shit. I'm drunk. I'm eating chicken wings. I'm whatever. I get that. But there are some of y'all that will never, ever, ever speak up for yourself as a people. And there's other people that are brave to do so. And I feel like they should be celebrated.